Retail theft, it has been plaguing businesses across this country, and especially in Democrat-led cities. And a stunning new report is now showing just how bad that situation is getting. According to the National Retail Security Survey, retail crime accounted for over $112 billion in industry losses just last year. That's a jump from $94 billion in 2021. Let's bring in Kevin O'Leary now, chairman of O'Leary Ventures. I'm trying to digest this number. I mean, that is stunning. What is happening? And can our economy even go on like that?
No, it's not sustainable, because if you look at businesses, let's take sectors like grocery. Grocery margins are 3 to 5%. When shrinkage used to be 1.5 to 2%, they would suffer that, but they could still have a profitable grocery store. Today, when shrinkage is over 5%, sometimes 6 and 7, and depending on the geography you're talking about, it's completely unprofitable. That's why in places like San Francisco, which is probably the case study for this whole situation, everybody's pulling out. The grocery stores are pulling out, the hotels are pulling out, convention centers are shut down, there's nobody there. It's not safe to walk at night. The place has become a war zone. I don't think it's really politics anymore. I think it's bad policy. That's really what's happened here, and it's not sustainable.
I mean, I'm just looking through the report, and while retailers have taken some drastic steps to try to prevent things like this happening, and by the way, these are some of the drastic incidents of retail theft, but this is happening every day while, you know, your big department stores are open and people are just walking out with stuff, stuffing in their purse, stuffing big bags and walking out. I mean, we see that happening every day. They're taking a lot of measures to prevent this and to address it, but that costs a lot of money. And guess who that's passed down to? The paying customers, ultimately. So retailers are reporting that they're forced to close specific store locations. A third of them report that. Some of them have decided to reduce operating hours, 45% of them, or reduce or alter in-store product selection, 30%. Guess what? We'll just take the expensive stuff off the shelf or put it in a case.
It's worse than that, because I have investments in almost 40 companies now. The 40th about to close. We sell a lot in big box retailers. Here's what you don't know about this problem. Let's say you're selling a high-priced electronic item or even a padlock. It used to hang off the shelf where customers could touch it, feel it, read the back of the package, read the front of the package. Today, it's now displayed in what's called under glass. You can't touch it. You see this happening all over the place with razor blades, for example. When you put an item under glass, you lose up to 30% of the sales, because the experience at retail of touching a product before you buy it is gone. This is killing us for small business. So it's a side derivative of the fact that theft and shrinkage, as it's called, is up so much. But again, it's policy. If people steal things and you tell them you're not going to ever be prosecuted or even pursued, of course they're going to steal stuff. And that's exactly what's happened. This is not brain surgery. This is just really bad policy.
You know, I just brought this up when we were looking at the United Auto Workers picket line. Where's the mention of those folks who are living paycheck to paycheck because they're paying for the inflation that most attribute to this president's policies, right? So here we are, we're telling businesses they've got to pay for all these security measures. They've got to pay workers more because they're paying for all the inflation out there. Everybody's paying more for gasoline to get to their job. I mean, I go back to my initial question, like, can our economy continue like this? This is a pretty evil cycle that we're in.
It's very difficult, but you know, that debate going on with the union, manufacturing automotive union, it's not going to work. I understand a 20% increase in salary. I get it. That's probably what they're going to get. They want more, but they'll probably end up with 20, maybe 25 max. But this idea of taking the work week down to 32 to 34 hours, that will bankrupt the auto industry yet again. And everybody will be bailing it out when that happens. You can't be that uncompetitive, because the rest of the world's competing, making cars, whether EV or gas or whatever they are. The world competes for automotive. And what will happen is we'll be flooded with much lower costs unless we're willing to just put a brick wall around our border and say nobody can sell anything in America. And that's not going to work either. So I'm watching this debate closely. I get it on the wage increase, but if they go to 32 hours, it's over.
That is really interesting. Real quickly, I want to put this up on the screen. Washington Post poll on financial situation under this presidency. Those who believe they're better off, just 15%. Those that believe they're worse off, 44%. About the same, 39%. Lump that together, you've got 83% that say they're worse off or about the same, not moving ahead. This is the president claiming he's the most pro-union president ever. Kevin, I'll get your quick response out of it.
I intend to be the most pro-union president leading the most pro-union administration in American history.
I'm proud to be the most pro-union president in American history. I meant what I said when I said I'm going to be the most pro-union president in American history, and I make no apologies for it. I made a commitment that I'd be the most pro-union president in American history. I'm keeping that promise. I'm proud to be the most pro-union president, according to the experts in American history.
So can he toe the line between his party's two main priorities, right? The unions and the climate initiatives.
I'd argue that's not a winning strategy because he's going to need the majority of the independent voter, of which 50% are not pro-union. So why would you be saying that now when you're going into an election cycle where you know you can't win with just your base? Either candidate, Trump or him, assuming they're going to be competing with each other, can't endorse unions when half the independents don't endorse them. That's a bad strategy. My guess is you won't see Trump going near unions because he just wants to stay out of that debate. And for Biden to do this and show up, the first living president to do this, I think it's bad election policy. I bet you his advisors are saying, I'm not sure, boss. I'm not sure I love this one, because those independents are watching this tape, and we'll see it all over the news tonight, and say to themselves, well, that takes me over the edge. Because 50% of independents, and most of them are down the middle of the road, they don't want to side on either side. They want a negotiated settlement, but they don't want to declare allegiance either way.
And you sort of have that split screen of the mess at the border where he is not visiting, but he did show up there in Michigan for the picket lines. Really interesting analysis. Kevin, thank you so much for being here.
Take care. Thank you.
Good to see you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.